Hey guys, so we had the LCS 11 take place a couple of weeks ago, and it was the first major tournament with the new ban list. And of course, as you see in the pie chart here, Dragon Link took the tournament by storm and won the whole event. I went through the 37 Dragon Link lists at the tournament and break down the most common ratios of the main deck core cards, the most frequent extra deck monsters, as well as the most common hand traps and staples played in the deck. So let's just get started. So we of course know that there were 3 Dragon Link decks that made it to the top 16 at LCS 11, with one list taking it all after taking down Dinos in the finals, and the other 2 Dragon Link players finished in the top 16. So I'm just going to quickly flash the 3 topping Dragon Link lists here, so you can just pause if you want to, but you can find the deck list on Luxury Gaming's website that I'll link below. So the one unique thing about Ben's list was that he was actually in the minority in terms of playing 3 Dragonmaid tidying rather than 2, but that third tidying definitely played a big factor in his win in the finals that I'll talk about later. Now the next list, I unfortunately don't know how to pronounce his name and I don't want to butcher it, so I'll just call him AS, but his list was interesting because he was actually the only Dragon Link list that played the Dragoon package. And finally, we have Raphael, who has topped multiple LCS events now with Dragon Link, so clearly he knows what he is doing with the deck. And he does have a YouTube channel, guys. He's close to 2,000 subs, so make sure to check him out at RikeYGO. I'll leave the link in the description below. Now, one thing you may have noticed from these 3 topping lists is that none of them were 40 cards. I mean, overall, most Dragon Link players at the LCS did play 40, but there were still 10 of the 37 lists that played just over 40, so keep that in mind. So now let's cover the most common ratios of the rocket monsters in the main. Of course, Tracer is the most famous one, with about 70% of the list playing it at 2 and the rest playing it at 3. Recharger is almost always played at just 1, and it's what helps you go into Borderlord Savage with Tracer, although one list did play this at 2. And then we have Router Dragon, which can help you get that Tracer when it's sent to the grave. Generally it's played at 1, but there were actually 3 lists that did not play it at all. And then you have Rocket Synchron, the other tuner, which was mostly played at 2, and then finally Magna Rocket Dragon, which hardly saw any play at all, other than 2 of the 37 lists that played it at 1. And then you have the 1-of dragons that were seen in every list, Black and White Dragon, Omni Dragon Brotar that can fetch you that Levianeer for the hand rip, not much else to talk about here. And then some more dragons, we have Starliege Safer that was played in all 37 lists as well, although 65% played it at 2, and another decent chunk played it at 1 instead. Noctovision is a card that can help with chain blocking, so your more important effects like Romular Search can go off, and was played at 1 for the most part, but 11 lists actually did not play this at all. Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon is of course limited, so you can only see it at 1, although there were actually 9 lists that did not play this either. And then you also have the baby version, Black Metal Dragon, which was mostly played at 1 if it was played, but 16 lists did not play this at all too. So a big change with Dragon Link in this format compared to a couple formats ago is that now it is pretty much a consensus to play the Dragonmaid package, which consists of just Chamber Dragonmaid and Tidying. Chamber can search the tidying, and this is a really good trap for Dragon Link because being able to bounce is of course great, but it also provides a main deck out, albeit temporary, to Mystic Mine, which is a common strategy in Dinos. Now there was an even split in terms of playing Chamber at 3 or 2, with both ratios being seen in 17 lists. As for tidying, most of the players went with 2. Now I mentioned at the start of the video that first place list by Ben played 3 tidying, and in game 2 of the championship round he had already burned through 2 tidying, and then the Dino player, which was Ryan, he played Mystic Mine, and it was actually a surprise for a lot of the viewers that Ben had a 3rd tidying still in the deck to be able to out the Mystic Mine. And since the LCS was a couple of weeks ago, I'm not sure if things have already started trending towards playing 3 tidying. I mean, I have no idea, but someone who plays Dragon Link, please feel free to comment below. Now heading into the LCS, some players were worried that Dragon Buster coming off the list meant that Dragon Link players can use DMZ Dragon to equip it to Savage for the extra deck lock again. But as you can see here, only 3 of the 37 lists actually ran the Dragon Buster package, so certainly not the common strategy in Dragon Link. To wrap up the main deck, just to list some key spells, the field spells in Boot Sector Launch and Dragon Ravine are of course all played at 1 since they are searchable. Quick Launch and Chaos Space were also a given at playing at 3 in all lists, and World Legacy Guard Dragon, which essentially serves as a double extender, was played at 3 in all lists but 1. As for the extra deck, I would say the combination of 15 cards you see here was the most common extra deck lineup for Dragon Link players. If you don't know what any of these cards are, then feel free to just ask in the comments and I'll answer that. Now of course there were some deviations from the standard extra deck lineup that I just showed, and here's a few that I will list here. Sanafon the Sky Prison, which is a rank 8 monster that can prevent both players from special summoning from the graveyard, was seen a decent amount as well. Saryuja was another popular rank 4 choice instead of Appaloosa, and then you have some other link 2s like Protector Whelp, Delingerous Dragon, and IP Masquerena played in 3 lists. I would say in terms of what these cards replace from the standard extra deck lineup I showed earlier, it usually involved playing Hieratic Seal at just 1 instead of 2, or taking out Appaloosa, or in rare cases taking out a 3rd copy of Striker Dragon. Okay, so we are done with the main and extra deck ratios, so let's focus on hand traps and Backrow hate in particular. Dragon Link, despite being a combo deck, can definitely play a lot of hand traps because they have so many other starters. So in the main, they had a median of 9 hand traps, which was in line with the other top cut deck lists at LCS 11. In the side, they had a decent amount as well, ranging from 2 to 9 hand traps with a median of 6 hand traps in the side. As for Backrow hate, Dragon Link is always, of course, trying to go first so they don't actually main deck any, at least none in the 37 list from LCS 11. In the side, they played anywhere between 2 to 8 cards dedicated for Backrow removal with a median of 5 cards. And finally, let's finish off the video by going over the top 10 most common hand traps and staples in Dragon Link list from LCS 11. Tied for first place is Nibiru and Ashe, and Lancia was still quite popular since there's the rise of Dinos, and 12 decks actually main decked Lancia as well. Gamma and Droll being popular is of course no surprise, they have been around as the most common hand traps for the last few formats now. As for numbers 6 to 10, gets a bit interesting to see Phantasmate being played in 9 Dragon Link lists. This card saw play in decks other than Dragon Link and Top Cut as well, and ironically enough, it's a card that's actually really good against Dragon Link since you'll be able to draw 4 and put back 3. And then you have some other hand traps like Skullmeister, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Bell, and DD Crow, which were not seen too often. As for the most common staples, Red Reboot and Harpy's Feather Duster take the top spots as you need that backrow removal post side, and Triple Tactics Talent is also a favorite considering that it is a great card for combo decks. Dark Ruler No More is starting to make a comeback as well now that VFD is gone, being seen in 19 lists with 2 Dragon Link lists that actually main deck this card. And then next is technically not a staple, but I wanted to put it here so that you guys can see how often the card was played, which is Koakimeru Drago. So this card can be summoned off of Hieratic Seal, and it shuts both players from being able to special summon light or dark monsters, which typically cares of most tier 1 decks usually. You had 18 of the 37 Dragon Link lists play this card, mostly in the side, but definitely a really powerful option. Next we have Pankratops, which is starting to see more play again thanks to VFD being gone, and some more Backrow hate and Lightning Storm and Cosmic Cyclone as well. Forbidden Droplet seeing some pretty big play in the main for Dragon Link decks, and Call by the Grave always see play in combo decks as well. Alright guys, so that's it for the analysis of the 37 Dragon Link decks from LCS 11. If you were planning on building this deck, hopefully this video was helpful. Now sadly, I won't be working on the LCS events anymore, so I won't have access to deck lists to make these kind of videos in the future, but I will at least be able to bring you guys an overall top cut breakdown of the LCS events on my channel moving forward. That's it for me guys, take care.